modern history, world governments have lied to the people about the existence of UFOs. They've claimed to either know nothing about them or portrayed themselves as having little interest in them. Today, we know that is not true. Governments have had a persistent interest and concern over the UFO issue since 1947. Why? What are they afraid of? And should we be afraid? The modern UFO dilemma began in 1947 when a UFO crashed north of Roswell, New Mexico. It was reported to the local sheriff by a rancher and later investigated by the Roswell Army Airfield, where debris was accumulated and shipped off to Wright-Patterson Airfield for further investigation. Originally, the press officer at Roswell was told to issue a news report that a saucer had been discovered and taken to the base by the Army, but later that story was retracted and replaced by the ludicrous notion that it was just a weather balloon, and all the specialists and trained military personnel at the only nuclear site in America simply got it wrong. This would be the first cover-up story issued by the government, and certainly would not be the last. The government created committees and panels to study the issue over the years, which turned out to be nothing more than attempts to placiate the public and appear to be interested in the phenomenon.
The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States. We have, as of date, come to only one firm conclusion with respect to this remaining percentage, and that is that it does not contain any pattern of purpose or of consistency that we can relate to any conceivable threat to the United States. We can say that the recent sightings are in no way connected with any secret development by any agency of the United States.
After projects Sign and Grudge, they created Project Blue Book. This would be the most public group and was often used to debunk anything that attracted the public's attention. Early on, there were warnings that none of the unique or unusual sightings made it to the Blue Book files. Indeed, it was learned that some reports were diverted away from the public group and sent to a secret group, often assumed to be at NORAD. We knew we were being lied to. We just didn't know who was controlling the misinformation. In 1969, the government closed down Project Blue Book and informed the public that there was nothing to the UFO question and that they were done with it. It was pointless to continue to investigate something that was nothing more than explainable aerial phenomenon. The American people were told it's over, nothing to see here, move along. And again, we were lied to. Throughout the UFO phenomenon, glimmers of information would emerge about secret government programs, sighting reports taken seriously, and clandestine men in black who would silence would-be UFO witnesses. In the 1980s, information surfaced about a secret group that was formed after the Roswell UFO crash. This group was codenamed Majestic 12 and contained military personnel, scientists, and government administration staff. If it actually existed, these were the men who orchestrated the entire UFO cover-up from the beginning. They set the standards for controlling information and misinformation. They were the cabal that managed the UFO issue in secret with no oversight. This group may very well continue to exist today. Throughout the UFO era, there have been whistleblowers who have come forward with information about secret UFO files, locations, technology, and even clandestine groups. The UFO phenomenon is like an onion, whereby you have to peel back layers and layers of deceit to get to the truth. Philip James Corso is one such whistleblower. After joining the Army in 1942, Corso served in Army intelligence in Europe, becoming chief of the U.S. Counterintelligence Corps in Rome. Corso was on the staff of President Eisenhower's National Security Council for 4 years. In 1961, he became chief of the Pentagon's Foreign Technology Desk in Army Research and Development, working under Lieutenant General Arthur Trudeau. Corso claims he stewarded extraterrestrial artifacts recovered from a crash near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. According to Corso, in 1947, a secret government group, probably Majestic 12, was created. The mission of that group was to collect information on aliens. He says this covert government group was assembled under the leadership of Admiral Roscoe H. Hillenkotter, the first director of the Central Intelligence Agency. Among its tasks was to collect all information on off-planet technology. The U.S. administration simultaneously discounted the existence of flying saucers in the eyes of the public. According to Corso, the reverse engineering of these artifacts indirectly led to the development of accelerated particle beam devices, fiber optics, lasers, integrated circuit chips, and Kevlar material. Corso also claims the Strategic Defense Initiative, or Star Wars, was meant to achieve the destructive capacity of electronic guidance systems and incoming enemy warheads, as well as the disabling of enemy spacecraft, including those of extraterrestrial origin. Soon after writing his book and making these claims, Corso died of a heart attack on July 16, 1998. Bob Lazar is an American conspiracy theorist who claims to have been hired in the late 1980s to reverse engineer purported extraterrestrial technology at what he described as a secret site called S4, an installation located south of the United States Air Force facility, popularly known as Area 51. Lazar claims he examined an alien craft that ran on an antimatter reactor powered by element 115, which at the time had not yet been synthesized. He also claims to have read U.S. government briefing documents that described alien involvement in human affairs over the past 10,000 years. Lazar's claims resulted in bringing added public attention to Area 51 and fueling conspiracy theories surrounding its classified activities. But here's the thing. 30 years later, nothing Lazar said has been disproven. Nothing. Element 115 did not exist on the periodic table in the 1980s, but it does now. The Pentagon has released gun camera footage that shows a saucer flying exactly the way Lazar described them 30 years ago. Indeed, now the Pentagon claims to have metamaterials and parts of flying saucers. Lazar has never tried to profit from his disclosure. He actually just wants to be left alone. As new revelations emerge, his claims are being vindicated. In 1969, the Air Force declared the end of Project Blue Book. We were told there was nothing to the UFO issue. The government had washed their hands of the subject, but almost immediately, pilot reports and other military sightings were being funneled somewhere. Someone within the government was cataloging and filing these reports, either Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, NORAD, the Pentagon, Area 51. The government did not dismiss the issue of UFOs. They simply changed their tactics. One way to confuse a search of UFO information is to simply change the name. If you do a Freedom of Information Act request for UFO material, that is exactly what you will get: newspaper articles and public material on UFOs. Somewhere along the line, the government changed the name or term for UFOs. Now they call them UAPs. Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. No one knew to look for that term, so the government could easily hide data and material and keep it out of the public eye. You can't search for a term if you don't know what that term is. Throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, clandestine UFO projects within the government popped up and then were changed, keeping a tight lid on the subject. Terms changed, material was reclassified, and information was compartmentalized and shifted around. Data was stored and encrypted to the point where even other government agencies could not find nor access the information. It became a game of bait and switch. All that changed in 2016. The game was up when information leaked about a secret Pentagon project called ATIP. The Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program was an unclassified but unpublished investigation effort funded by the United States government to study unidentified flying objects or unexplained aerial phenomenon. The program was first made public on December 16, 2017. The program began in 2007 with funding of $22 million over the 5 years until the available appropriations were alleged to have ended in 2012. The program began in the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency. According to the Department of Defense, the ATIP program ended in 2012 after 5 years. However, reporting suggests that U.S. government programs to investigate UFOs continued. This was confirmed in June of 2020 when the acknowledgement of a similar military program, the unclassified but previously unreported Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. group, including Luis Elizondo, who was an ATIP program director, founded a public benefit corporation named To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science in 2017. Being caught red-handed, the Pentagon now is suggesting it may share information about UAPs with the public. No one knows if this will be an honest and truthful disclosure or just another Blue Book type whitewash. The military has had an interest in UFOs since World War II, when Foo Fighters were seen by Allied pilots. We assumed they were some new German weapon. After the war, the Germans admitted they had seen them too, and assumed they were a new Allied weapon. Neither side ever found out what they truly were. The year after Roswell, things ramped up for the military after the Mantell incident. On January 7, 1948, 25-year-old Captain Thomas F. Mantell, a Kentucky Air National Guard pilot, died in the crash of his P-51 Mustang fighter after being sent in pursuit of an unidentified flying object. The event was among the most publicized early UFO incidents. Mantell entered a steep climb trying to get a better view of the object. His two wingmen had also seen it. No one is sure what happened after Mantell climbed in altitude. His plane crashed on a farm south of Franklin, Kentucky, on the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. Firemen later pulled Mantell's body from the Mustang's wreckage. His seatbelt was shredded, and his wristwatch had stopped at 3:18 p.m., the time of his crash. Meanwhile, by 3:50 p.m., the UFO was no longer visible to observers at Godman Army Airfield. The Mantell case marked a sharp shift in both public and governmental perceptions of UFOs. Previously, the news media often treated UFO reports with a whimsical or glib attitude, reserved for silly news. Following Mantell's death, however, the fact that a person had died in an encounter with an alleged flying saucer dramatically increased public concern about the phenomenon. Now, a new prospect entered thought about UFOs. They might be not only extraterrestrial, but potentially hostile as well. Alien abductions had been occurring throughout the 60s and 70s with the Betty and Barney Hill case, the Pascagoula incident, and the Travis Walton abduction. By the 1980s, the phenomenon took on a new look and a more sinister scenario. Aliens were taking people and experimenting on them. Whitney Strieber's book Communion revealed a more accurate description of alien graves, and after its publication, many people came forward with stories of alien intervention, hybrid babies, and nefarious genetic experiments that the aliens had performed on them. UFO abductions came to the surface, and unlike the contactee stories of the 50s, these aliens were not giving free trips around the solar system. They had a plan, and it wasn't in our best interest. There appears to be an elaborate process underway in which aliens are attempting to create human-alien hybrids, the most advanced stage of which in the human hybridization program are known as hybrids, though the motives for this effort are unknown. There had been anecdotal reports of phantom pregnancy related to UFO encounters at least as early as the 1960s, but Bud Hopkins and especially David M. Jacobs were instrumental in popularizing the idea of widespread, systematic interbreeding efforts on the part of the alien intruders. The precise number of alleged abductees is uncertain. One of the earliest studies of abductions found 1,700 claimants, while contested surveys argued that 5 to 6% of the general population might have been abducted. Political scientist Michael Barkun highlighted links between radical politics and conspiracy theories involving UFOs, alien visitation, environmental pollution, hidden groups, government, and world takeover. He observed the rise of a form of eclectic and apocalyptic millennialism, which he termed improvisational millennialism. UFO and abduction stories can often be part of stigmatized or suppressed knowledge narratives where alleged orthodoxy is claimed to be maintained in error for nefarious purposes and to keep society in ignorance. UFO and alien-related conspiracy theories emerged in far-right politics from the 1980s onward. Political scientist Jody Dean noted that the stigma of alien abduction stories is seductive to dismiss consensus reality in favor of deviant alternate realities. Self-described abduction victims espouse conspiracy theories of sophisticated technological mind control, including the use of implants to force them to serve an alleged new world order, or for the purpose of the Antichrist, considering it important to warn the world of such imminent danger. Theories of direct government involvement with aliens have been around since at least the 1960s. Governments, along with aliens, are part of cover-up conspiracies with militias and black helicopters, but also featured the demonization of FEMA, a common target of conspiracy theorists. One conspiracy theory alleges that FEMA plans to suddenly incarcerate patriots in concentration camps during a disaster. If the government is in cahoots with aliens, then we are screwed. However, due to the secret and public study programs the government has conducted over the past few decades, it suggests they know less about the phenomenon than ufologists. Governments are not one big umbrella organization. They consist of a multitude of departments and agencies, and often these units don't necessarily talk to each other. So one part of the government could easily conduct or oversee clandestine efforts within the UFO issue, while all other agencies have no clue what is being done. The military is often a separate entity from civilian government, and they have dark budgets that allow them to conduct programs outside of the watchful eye of the public. Indeed, 90% of everything the military does is secret and compartmentalized. A military UFO program can easily be hidden and has been for decades. Individuals who have publicly stated that UFO evidence is being suppressed include Senator Barry Goldwater, British Admiral Lord Hill Norton, former NATO head-in-chief of the British Defense Staff, Brigadier General Arthur Exon, former commanding officer of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Vice Admiral Roscoe H. Hillenkotter, the first CIA director, astronauts Gordon Cooper and Edgar Mitchell, and former Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hillier. On January 22, 1958, when Donald Keyhoe appeared on CBS television, his statements on UFOs were censored by the Air Force. During the show, when Keyhoe tried to depart from the censored script to reveal something that has never been disclosed before, CBS cut the sound, later stating Keyhoe was about to violate predetermined security standards and about to say something he wasn't authorized to release. What Keyhoe was about to reveal were 4 publicly unknown military studies concluding UFOs were interplanetary, including the 1948 Project Sign estimate of the situation and a 1952 Project Blue Book engineering analysis of UFO motion presented at the Robertson panel.
With all due respect to the Air Force, I believe that some of them will prove to be of interplanetary origin. During a 3-year investigation, I found that many pilots have described objects of substance and high speed. One case, pilots reported their plane was buffeted by an object which passed them at 500 miles an hour. Obviously, this was a solid object, and I believe it was from outer space.
A few weeks after the Robertson panel, the Air Force issued Regulation 202, ordering Air Base officers to publicly discuss UFO incidents only if they were judged to have been solved, and to classify all the unsolved cases to keep them out of the public eye. In addition, UFO investigative duties started to be taken on by the newly formed 4602 Air Intelligence Squadron, AISS, of the Air Defense Command. The 4602 was tasked with investigating only the most important UFO cases, having intelligence or national security implications. These were deliberately siphoned away from Blue Book, leaving Blue Book to deal with the more trivial reports. The so-called Majestic 12 documents surfaced in 1982, suggesting that there was secret, high-level U.S. government interest in UFOs dating to the 1940s. Allegations of suppression of UFO-related evidence have persisted for many decades. Some conspiracy theories also claim that some governments might have removed or destroyed or suppressed physical evidence and even killed witnesses. Philip Schneider of the Patriot Movement, an engineer and geologist formerly working for the U.S. government, made a few appearances at UFO conventions in the 1990s, exposing his involvement in clandestine government efforts. He claimed to have played a role in the construction of deep underground military bases across the United States, and as a result, he said that he had been exposed to classified information of various sorts, as well as having personal experiences with ETs. He died by suicide on January 17, 1996, after a series of lectures given in late 1995 on topics including the black budget and underground alien bases. Others believe that Schneider did not take his own life and that he was actually murdered by the government. According to one theory related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the CIA killed Kennedy in order to prevent him from leaking information to the Soviet Union about a covert program to reverse engineer alien technology. In 2013, Senator Mike Gravel claimed that the government was suppressing evidence of extraterrestrials. The Phoenix Lights were a series of widely sighted unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, observed in the skies over the U.S. states of Arizona, Nevada, and the Mexican state of Sonora on March 13, 1997. Lights of various descriptions were seen by thousands of people that night in a space of about 300 miles from the Nevada line through Phoenix to the edge of Tucson. There were two distinct events involved in the incident. A triangular formation of lights seen to pass over the state, and a series of stationary lights seen in the Phoenix area. Fife Symington, the governor at the time, was one witness to this incident. He later called the object otherworldly. The Air Force first attempted to dismiss the event as flares. Then, when that theory fell apart, they reported no comment. In 2020, it was reported the Pentagon is forming a new task force to investigate UFOs that have been observed by U.S. military aircraft, according to two defense officials. Deputy Secretary of Defense David Norquist will help oversee the task force. Previous efforts to look into what the Pentagon dubs unidentified aerial phenomenon were led by the U.S. Navy, as many of the documented encounters involved their aircraft. The Department of Defense is remaining silent. Members of Congress and Pentagon officials have long expressed concerns about the appearance of the unidentified aircraft that have flown over U.S. military bases, posing a risk to military jets. There is no consensus on their origin, with some believing they may be drones, potentially operated by earthly adversaries seeking to gather intelligence rather than extraterrestrial. The Senate Intelligence Committee voted in June of 2020 to have the Pentagon and intelligence community provide a public analysis of the encounters, following the official Pentagon release of 3 short videos showing U.S. aircraft encountering these phenomena.
We have things flying over our military bases and places where we're conducting military exercises, and we don't know what it is, and it isn't ours. So that's the legitimate question to ask. I would say that, frankly, that if it's something of outside this planet, that might actually be better than the fact that we've seen some technological leap on behalf of the Chinese or the Russians or some other adversary that allows them to conduct this sort of activity. But the bottom line is, if there are things flying over your military bases and you don't know what they are because they're not yours, and they exhibit potentially technologies that you don't have at your own disposal, that to me is a national security risk, and one that we should be looking into.
The videos released by the Pentagon appear to show unidentified flying objects rapidly moving while recorded by infrared cameras. 2 of the videos contain service members reacting in awe at how quickly the objects are moving. One voice speculates that it could be a drone. President Donald Trump in April called the footage a hell of a video and told Reuters he wonders if it's real. In May, CNN obtained hazard reports detailing encounters between U.S. Navy aircraft and unidentified aerial phenomenon from the Navy Safety Center. The Navy videos were first released between December 2017 and March of 2018 by the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, a company co-founded by former Blink-182 musician Tom DeLonge, that says it studies information about the unidentified aerial phenomenon. The Pentagon had previously studied recordings of aerial encounters with unknown objects as part of a since-shuttered classified program that was launched at the behest of former Senator Harry Reid of Nevada. That program was launched in 2007 and ended in 2012, according to the Pentagon, because they assessed that there were higher priorities that needed funding. Rumors persist that this or a similar program is ongoing. The former head of the program, Luis Elizondo, told CNN in 2017 that he personally believes there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone. Basically, the Pentagon's back is against the wall now, with senators and the public demanding answers to the UFO issue. We have yet to see if they will be forthcoming with truthful information, or this will pass and it will be back to business as usual and a continued cover-up. The United States is not the only government that has UFO information. Britain, France, and others also have programs and have had programs that deal with the issue. In the past few years, governments around the world have been releasing files and information they obtained during their own investigations. The UK's fascination with UFOs spiked around 1950, prompting the MOD to form the Flying Saucer Working Party to address the phenomenon. According to the UK National Archives, UFOs in the early 1950s even captured the attention of Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who sent a memo to his Air Minister in 1952 asking, "What does all this stuff about flying saucers amount to? What can it mean? What is the truth?" The Flying Saucer Group concluded that UFOs were hoaxes, delusions, or ordinary objects that were misidentified, recommending that no further investigation of reported mysterious aerial phenomenon be undertaken. Nevertheless, other MOD divisions continued the work of official UFO investigation in the UK, ushering such efforts into the 21st century. The last UFO report to be published online by the MOD dates to 2009, covering sightings that took place from January through the end of November of that year. These included a silver disc-shaped light reported in January of 2009, up to 20 orange and red glowing lights reported in June, a large bright silver white ball sphere reported in July, and 3 blazing golden orbs in a diagonal line in the sky, which was reported in September. After MOD enacted a policy change on December 1, 2009, the agency no longer recorded or investigated UFO sightings, according to the report. But what they did find including many recent UFO reports that were previously available only as hard copies, are now published online. France became the first country to open its files on UFOs in 2007 when the National Space Agency unveiled a website documenting more than 1,600 sightings spanning 5 decades. The online archives, which are updated as new cases are reported, catalogs in minute detail cases ranging from the easily dismissed to a handful that continue to perplex even hard-nosed scientists. It is a world first, says Jacques Patnet, the aeronautical engineer who heads the Office for the Study of Non-Identified Aerospatial Phenomena. Known as ovnis in French, UFOs have always generated intense interest, along with countless conspiracy theories about secretive government cover-ups of findings deemed too sensitive or alarming for public consumption. Many involve multiple sightings, in at least one case involving thousands of people across France, and evidence such as burn marks and radar trackings showing flight patterns or accelerations that defy the laws of physics, and they are taken seriously. A phalanx of beefy security guards formed a barrier in front of the space agency headquarters where the announcement was made to screen out uninvited ufologists. Of the 1,600 cases registered since 1954, nearly 25% are classified as Type D, meaning that despite good or very good data and credible witnesses, we're confronted with something we can't explain. On the 8th of January of 1981, outside the town of Trans-en-Provence in southern France, for example, a man working in a field reported hearing a strange whistling sound and seeing a saucer-like object about 2.5 meters in diameter land in his field about 50 meters away. It stayed for a few seconds, then took off into the blue yonder without making a sound. When the GEIPAN team went to investigate, they found burn marks in the soil, suggesting that the object weighed a couple of 100 kilograms. I've never been able to understand or explain that incident, said Patnet. The nearly 1,000 witnesses who said they saw flashing lights in the sky on the 5th of November 1990, by contrast, had simply seen a rocket fragment falling back into Earth's atmosphere. We do not have the least proof that extraterrestrials are behind the unexplained phenomenon, said Patnet, adding, nor do we have the least proof that they are not. We also sent a message to more scientists, inviting them to help us analyze these phenomena, when otherwise they might feel uneasy about those issues. The CNES fields between 50 and 100 UFO reports every year, usually written up by police. Of these, 10% are the object of on-site investigations. The aim was to make it easier for scientists and other UFO buffs to access the data for research. The website itself, which crashed host servers hours after it was unveiled due to heavy traffic, is extremely well organized and complete, even including scanned copies of police reports. Institute 22 organization was created in 1978 by the Academy of Sciences and the Ministry of Defense in the Soviet Union. Its mission was to investigate UFOs in the Soviet Union. Institute 22 was a secret organization for 13 years until the fall of the Soviet Union and can be compared to the American Project Blue Book. During its existence, a great number of soldiers, sailors, and pilots of the Soviet Army were given orders to watch for UFOs and other unexplained events without any further information. The orders could be handed out quite easily since the Ministry of Defense was involved, thus no questions could be asked. Institute 22 has investigated around 3,000 UFO reports. About 5 to 10% of all cases remained unexplained when the organization dissolved. Project Magnet was an unidentified flying object study program established by Transport Canada in December 1950 under the direction of Wilbert Brockhouse Smith, senior radio engineer for Transport Canada's Broadcast and Measurements section. It was formally active until mid-1954 and informally active without government funding until Smith's death in 1962. Smith eventually concluded that UFOs were probably extraterrestrial in origin and likely operated by manipulation of magnetism. Project Condon was a secret UFO study undertaken by the British government Defense Intelligence Staff between 1997 and 2000. The results of Project Condon were compiled into a 400-page document titled Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon in the UK Air Defence Region that drew approximately 10,000 sightings and reports that had been gathered by the DI-55, a section of the Directorate of Scientific and Technical Intelligence within the Defense Intelligence Staff. It was released into the public domain on the 15th of May 2006 after a September 2005 Freedom of Information Act request by UFO researchers Dr. David Clark, a lecturer at Sheffield Hallam University, and Gary Anthony, a former BUFO-RA astronomical consultant. The identity of the report's authors was not made public. The report concluded that UFOs had an observable presence that was indisputable, but also that no evidence has been found to suggest they are hostile or under any type of control. If you think the government has more information about UFOs than it's letting on, you're not alone. In fact, you're in the majority. A 2019 Gallup poll revealed 68% of people feel that way. 33% of all respondents said that they believe UFOs were built by aliens from outer space. The Venn diagram center of those two groups clings to one of the most enduring conspiracy theories. The government is squirreling away information about alien spacecraft. This idea appears and has for years on internet forums, social media, TV shows, memes, movies, and of course, fiction. Almost as interesting as any government secret is why it's kept secret. And for alien UFOs, the conspiratorial answers span a whole spectrum. They'd cause too much peace, make too much chaos, give too many people too much technology, or maybe just be a real disappointment. Because the why here has so many potential answers, believers can choose the one that makes most sense to them, or tick off all of the above. The public doesn't know what goes on inside Area 51. To think that there must be something truly incredible inside, that has the feel of truth. Even powerful politicians think that there may be more to the saucer story than meets the public eye. That's why when presidents become presidents, sometimes they too take an interest in the extraterrestrial. On Jimmy Kimmel Live in 2014, for instance, Bill Clinton revealed that during his time in office, he asked his people to look into both the Area 51 and Roswell files. If you saw that there were aliens there, would you tell us? Kimmel asked him. Yes, said Clinton. It makes a certain sense that the government holds these celestial secrets. After all, it alone meets the classic criteria of guilt, means, motive, opportunity. Those elements make the conspiratorial conviction feel just plausible enough. And if a hypothetical narrative is just plausible enough, adherents have just enough ground to remain standing on it, which is part of why this conspiracy theory has long, sturdy legs. First of all, the government has the means to pull off an alien cover-up. Unlike individual humans or companies attempting to enforce dubious non-disclosure agreements, the military and intelligence communities have the authority to classify information, making it an actual crime to spill the secrets. This confidential information, sequestered in a limited number of brains, can also be geographically sequestered. Military installations take up millions and millions of acres across the United States. That's a lot of land to hide behind. Area 51 is the most famous home of aliens on Earth conspiracies. Together, this base and others span 2.9 million acres, which is nearly twice the size of Delaware. Guards can put a halt to curious civilians trespassing by using deadly force, also known as killing them. The public doesn't know what goes on inside Area 51 today, and we probably won't for decades to come. To think that there must be something truly incredible inside has the feel of truth. The government is also generally better at cover-ups than your average Fortune 500 company or UFO hunting individual. Take the real-world 1947 events in Roswell. After a rancher found crashed debris on his land, the military first said it came from a flying saucer, then reversed course and called it a weather balloon. That may have been true, and officials knew it. The wreckage from a classified project called Mogul, a high-altitude nuclear test detector, is what they claimed later. The government may have been covering up aliens, but it did prove one thing. It is unable to keep the truth hidden for decades. Information stays quiet within government if it would damage national security. But some scientists have suggested that contact with ETs would actually increase the likelihood of peace on Earth. The existence of extraterrestrials could bring us all together as Earthlings, united not by nationality, but by planetary unity. We could connect with the cosmos, look at it with a new sort of wonder, and gratitude that we are not, that none of us are alone. Plus, whether they're beaming blueprints through space or propelling their bodies through it, the others certainly have better tech than we do. They could teach us how they built warp drives, or developed self-contained life support systems, or reined in their social media giants. And if they didn't teach us, we could strip their spaceship to pieces, figure out how it worked, and reverse engineer our own. It could be a renaissance, a high-tech respite from international conflict. That's a nice idea, but researchers don't agree on how people would react to such a revelation. Most importantly, no one really has any idea what would happen with the body politic, just as you can guess at how you'd behave if you met Bigfoot. But you don't actually know. And besides, maybe it's not in a government's best interest to unite the people. After all, wars always balloon someone's bank account, and a truly global society could topple country-level leaders. You can see a rationale behind keeping the cosmic visits quiet, even if they'd ultimately be good for the little guy. Federal studies suggest that an alien visit wouldn't swing positive or neutral, but ultra-negative. Researchers predict conflicts between the great powers, more spying, more assassinations, the disillusion of moderate religion, the blow-up of radicalism, immigration issues, and more. These hypothetical woes have the same tenor as the government's true fears about UFOs, at least in the past, according to a document called the Robertson Panel Report. In 1953, the CIA sponsored a small group of scientists and military personnel to evaluate the national security risks UFOs did or did not pose and what to do about it. The group believed that the Soviets could use UFO reports to touch off mass hysteria and panic in the United States. Governments don't, in general, want any sort of hysteria or panic within their borders. Ergo, maybe they'd hide, cover up, lie about the potential source of that potential panic. Especially if, as in the movies like War of the Worlds, Independence Day, and The Day the Earth Stood Still, the extraterrestrial visitors put forth an apocalyptic threat rather than a peaceful, how do you do? Some, though, believe the government is hiding the greatest discovery in human history because its people want to hang on to those spoils. Maybe military engineers are reverse engineering the saucer in secret. That would keep the technology hidden from foreign nations, giving the United States an unbeatable advantage. Defensive or offensive, alien innovation isn't the only stuff conspiracists think the government might keep from us. Go on the right forums or WikiLeaks database and you can find the idea that ETs have shown us how to get virtual free energy by harnessing zero-point energy, or basically pulling power out of the ether. A government might hide that so it can keep its people poor and dependent. keep big companies in business, and keep the ultimate source of power for itself. But if the government says it doesn't have aliens, believers can say that's just a lie, further proof of a cover-up. And if 2 million people do one day raid Area 51 and they fail to find anything, maybe they just didn't see the secret basement door where seams are so tight they don't show up at all. Maybe the Air Force moved the saucer as soon as rumors of a raid spun up. And if a president doesn't speak of the alien secrets, maybe he just found the truth and decided it didn't deserve to be out there. Most people believe that if we are ever to know the real story behind decades of UFO sightings, reports, video, and photographs, that confirmation will have to come from the government. No one agency can disclose the full story. Either a foreign government or the United States will have to make an announcement, most likely from a president or prime minister. That announcement will have to be carefully crafted and backed up by the intelligence community and the nation's military, revealing to the public that UFOs are real, that aliens exist, and that we are not alone will have worldwide ramifications. The moment it is made public, there will be questions, and those who participated in the cover-up will be called to explain. Continued public demand on all governments is required to force them to capitulate. That requires you and all citizens to maintain the pressure, so the day will come when we know for a fact we are not alone.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3,